GH1 OB van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GH1 van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GH1 provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience who are also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GH1 van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets, and so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge but very affordable. Cost is really affordable. My experience with it, EMI awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable. GH1 OB van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GH1 van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GH1 provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience who are also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GH1 van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets, and so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge but very affordable. Cost is really affordable. My experience with it, EMI awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable. GH1 OB van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GH1 van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GH1 provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter or host in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GH1 van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets, and so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge but very affordable. Cost is really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable. GH1 OB van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GH1 van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GH1 provides it. My
experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter or host in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GH1 van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets, and so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge but very affordable. Cost is really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. really affordable. GH1 OB van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GH1 van has been the state-of-the-art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GH1 provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter or host in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GH1 van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is really, really affordable. My experience with it, EMI Awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable. GH1 OB van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GH1 van has been the state-of-the-art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GH1 provides it. My
experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter or host in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GH1 van to a lot of other vans.
April 24, 2025. My name is Lily Mohammed. You are welcome to GH Today. It's another edition of it from now through till 10 a.m. I am your captain. Please buckle up. Let's have a very beautiful ride as I serve you nothing but sizzling breakfast. There's a lot of things happening here in Ghana, a lot of issues to unpack. Dr. Bawumia says, my religion cannot be blamed for my defeat or the NPP's defeat in the 2024 election. Even some Christian candidates, if you're touting Islamic religion, some Christian candidates even had lower numbers than I recorded in their various constituencies, and he cited Reverend John in Timfojo. Then, no, my uncle chopped straight bullets. Dr. Bawumia, we don't like that. But anyway, and then the Tamale Teaching Hospital CEO has been replaced after his sacking. He's been replaced. Many are reading political undertones to it because the person who has replaced him was the NDC parliamentary candidate for the Karaga constituency in the northern region. Are there really political undertones? We heard from the spokesperson for the Ministry of Health who says the outgone CEO was not sacked because of the negligence that led to the death of a patient, but because of the current condition at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. These and more are the things that we will look into here on the show. Please stay tuned in. But let me start by motivating you this morning. Our quote of the day is by Johnson Dizon, who says, I hope you realize that every day is a fresh start for you, that every sunrise is a new chapter in your life waiting to be written. That's a beautiful quote. Yeah. Look at things this way. Every morning you have a chance to rewrite your story. No matter how bad that story is, at least you have a fresh slate. You have 24 hours to rewrite it. So set a new goal if you have to, or you can just tweak the goal that you already have, and then life will be better for you. Always look on the brighter side of life. Let me help you improve your English language writing and speaking.
Today's word is ambidextrous. It's a long one. It's ambidextrous. The word is an adjective. Ambidextrous means able to use both hands equally well to write or paint or do other things. Let's exemplify it. Sarah noticed she is ambidextrous when she was a little girl. She can write with both hands. Ambidextrous.
That was a good word there. So please add it to your dictionary. So this is what you can do. You can grab a pen and a paper every morning, and then you can jot down the words that we bring to you here on the show. Alternatively, you can equally note it down on your phone so that anytime you need a new word to use in your sentences and the construction, you can equally just pick it up and use it. Let me pump you up a little. If you're like me who hates waking up in the morning, let me pump you up. Time for Inside Out. So, in the last couple of days, the Tamale Teaching Hospital has been in the news, not for the good reasons. There was a patient that we're learning that died at the facility. The health minister paid an unannounced visit to the facility to ascertain how operations have been going on in that facility. Mind you, the health minister has been going around unannounced visits at various facilities. He did same at Ridge. Then he had first-hand what was the real situation. So he visited Tamale, and there was an altercation between personnel there and the health minister, and the CEO was to be blamed. Now, the CEO has been sacked, and we've seen reactions from Doctors Association of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. We've seen reactions from the Ghana Medical Association. The Doctors Association of the Tamale Teaching Hospital are making some demands that, well, these are the things. Oxygen plants are malfunctioned. A lot of things are malfunctioned at that hospital. So we need these demands met. And if they are not met, we are suspending all OPD services and emergency services. Only inpatient services will be attended to. And so these are the demands that they are asking from governments. That, well, if you think that the doctors are at fault, this is the reality. This is the reality on the ground. So a new CEO has been appointed by President Mohammed. And now a lot of people, I said earlier, a lot of people are reading political meanings into it, that it has political undertones, because the current CEO of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, who's been appointed just yesterday, was the 2024 NDC parliamentary candidate for Karaga. Was that the reason he was appointed, or he was appointed based on merit? We'd love to hear from you. Please call us. Let's hear from you. But the Ministry of Health has been reacting to this. The spokesperson for the ministry, Tony Goodman, says that, well, he was not sacked because of the negligence. He was sacked because of the current state of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, for which he superintends over.
When you read read the statement from GMA, you realize clearly that they were thinking that the termination of the CEO's appointment is as a result of the medical negligence. No, that is not it. It is because of the way the hospital has been run down. A teaching hospital that serves 5 or 7 northern part of our country, and then some Togolese and then Burkina Faso cannot even boast of an MRI or CT scan. We believe that the minister has just taken a critical action to forestall that facility and save lives. That is what is more critical. I believe our brothers at GMA who understand this. It is not because the minister thought that there was some medical negligence. He thought that the hospital has been run down. That is why he took the action. Regarding the confrontation with the medical doctor, it is because of the space that you can see. It is a space, and then the media you see around. That is why it looks as if there was confrontation. The man said that one life should not blow this matter out of proportion. The minister thought that otherwise. So that was what you saw there.
So that's Tony Goodman. He is the spokesperson for the Ministry of Health. Well, I'm sure you all remember Tony Goodman. NDC won during President Mohammed's first term. He was the PR for the Ministry of Health, and he's back as the spokesperson for that ministry. But what are your thoughts? I mean, did the state of Tamale Teaching Hospital warrant the sacking of the CEO? Mind you, he superintends over the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Even at that, even though he superintends over that facility, he will require certain things to be put in place to be able to work effectively. And so the doctors of the Tamale Teaching Hospital Doctors Association are making quite a number of demands. And they say if these demands are not met, they will continue to suspend OPD services and emergency services. And then they are further demanding an apology from the health minister who was on that visit. And then accompanying the health minister on that visit was a member of parliament for that area, for the Tamale South area. Tamale North, I beg your pardon, Alasan Soene, who accompanied the minister for health. And so they are demanding, the Doctors Association are demanding that the minister apologizes to the sacked CEO and the health personnel there, together with the member of parliament for that area, because he was present. It was in his presence that that particular altercation happened. And so they are reading meanings that into it, that, well, because the personnel of that facility had an altercation with the minister, that is why the CEO has been sacked. I have a caller. Hi there, caller. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Hello, caller. Good morning to you.
Good morning, madam.
Your name and where you're calling me from?
Oh, my name is Isaac Abdullah, calling from Northern Region.
Okay. So you since you live in that enclave, please, can you turn down the volume on your TV set?
Oh, I have need to.
Hello?
Hello?
I can hear myself, unfortunately.
No more with my TV set. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Uh,
Unfortunately, I'll have to let you go. I can hear myself. But I would have loved to hear from you. So when you call, kindly turn down the volume on your TV set. Listen to me through the handset so we can have a smooth conversation. I have another caller. Hi there, caller. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling me from?
I'm calling from Tamale. My name is Alas at the moment.
Okay. Since you're calling from Tamale, talk to me. How frequent do you visit the Tamale Teaching Hospital? What's the state been like? And how long has it been in that state?
Often. The absence of the doctors is childish. So when they're waiting for the sacking, the CEO, before you come and say that they need ventilators in the hospital, the emergency ward, the last time, I think that was 2 years or 3 years, I went there with my father. My father was in pain. They left the old man down there. They have to send the old man to a private hospital before they did the first aid and the pain of the old man calmed down before we came there as a referral for surgery over there. So VTTH, they lack experience. When I say they lack experience, they go there, when they post new doctors, the minister has to go there early. But they even save them. They're even lucky that now they don't attack institutions like that too. You can't leave the hospital, go to your private hospital, and be working. It wasn't working. It wasn't working. When the guy who was at the with the patient, that telling guy who died, the guy was stressing, and the guy was under oxygen. The guy was forcing breathing. The oxygen was not working. When Peter went there, and they said, oh, they've now gotten a bed over there. Initially, they said there's no bed. So went from the bed. You know, the bed went from the hospital to the IT clinic.
Okay. Thank you very much for speaking to us. So you heard that caller. He says that, well, the sacking of the CEO is a step in the right direction. I have another caller. Hi there, caller. Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling me from?
Good morning. My name is Sergio. I'm calling from Bolga.
You're calling from?
Bolga.
Okay. Talk to me.
Good morning to you and to your viewers. In fact, yesterday when we heard the news about the CEO of TPA being sacked, in fact, it was something that some of us were not happy.
Okay.
You know, the doctors have listed so many things that the hospital is needed. Whose responsibility is to provide those items? I think it's the government.
Yeah.
So if those demands are not met and you come to blame the CEO, is he the only person working in the hospital? That's the question one should ask. But the CEO cannot be at all the facilities and then the areas monitoring what is going on. They have the medical directors and all those people that are also in charge of other areas. So if you just come and then you start the CEO and you bring your former parliamentary candidate, this one is just political. So I think what the doctors are demanding is legitimate. They need to apologize.
Another caller. That will be my final caller so that I can take you to court. Hi there, caller. Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling me from. Good morning, sir. Okay.
Madam, if I told me that was Mr. Wada, maybe I make it to you because we broke on a shell and Japapata.
Okay, please go ahead.
Midawasi, Asama would be up here, Nimno. Now no Nema echoes what GH. Now I penny no cramp, ya unity. Because Oba Hospital no cramp. Juma Bonia echoes one no, and Nejuma Kitua. You see me no cafe. What the Lipaco Honum Crampa, one Catoba no. Abra Air Hospital Cafe. And your phone, or your mother, when you do a papa. Dr. Phone, so never a woman will hold them no. But no call them the crampo, Abra, one every crampa. Let's now overtake a Nipano crampo or the other TikTok. Social media. Or when you now so no Musa hospital kitty. You see me no Catay, who call them the crampo, Adia, Abra, Everton, or 20 cities who hold them crampo, when you hospital catching more. Ombachiro Adrona Adiamo, hospital Kito, in Mukoto, Adrona Abra, or no Catanidia. The Rebia, Muslim was or minor, and yet it was Petica, because Abano or Tiamuka, the Abanatana, Mukrampo, Muya, Dana, or Biana Posta, Tituatia, no Japetica, on you or minor Hubio. And to present the oil, ever boy, so Munala. And yes, NDC MPP, because they are because they observe send me MPP, pure MPP. And the Tom Redia, young NDC MPP, they can't cry, and will see you MPP in the Crampa, a mammy. For your NDC in the Crampa, a mammy, also or many. And yes, here now, or Modiba Brain, no. On NDC MPP, no, yet you are Padia, some Ghana. Let me be out for you, Adia Maya. I know what y'all know before him, Mammy.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, he is also happy about the sacking of the CEO, of the outgone CEO of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, because currently there's a new CEO, that's Dr. Abubakar Bawa Abdullahi. He's a senior lecturer at the University for Development Studies. So he is taking over as the current CEO, a day after the previous CEO, Dr. Atiku, was relieved of his position as the Chief Executive Officer of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Now, I mentioned to you that the Doctors Association of Tamale are making a lot of demands, and so for that they have suspended outpatient department services and then emergency services. They will only attend to inpatients at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Thank you very much for your reactions. But I know you wanted to call. Unfortunately, I cannot pick any more calls, so do send us your reactions on our various social media pages, on Facebook, on the X. I'll make sure to read them here on the show. That's it for Inside Out. Let's now head to the courts, and Captain has joined me. Captain, good morning.
Good morning, Lily. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Great.
What's up in courts? The CJ suspension. Have there been any reactions on the corridors of the judiciary on this?
For the judiciary or the judicial service, in fact, when you go in there, there are two key bodies that would have or should or probably will come out with a reaction. I'm talking about the Judicial Service Staff Association, and I'm also talking about Association of Magistrates and Judges. These are two known institutions within the judiciary. But as we speak, we haven't had any reaction from them yet in relation to what is happening. the Ghana Bar Association has also not officially come out to give us a statement or to give us a reaction in what is happening. But of course, we do know that lawyers in this country, depending on how you say things, are all reacting. They are giving us perspective. People are giving us interpretation of their own understanding of the provisions being activated by the president. Something that, yes, it is a step in the right directions. Others think that, look, the way and manner it is happening, that is not the way to go. So within the same provisions in the 1992 Constitution, different interpretations have been alluded to it, different explanations have been given to it. Those who believe that it is a step in the right direction, those who believe that no, it is not. And so something is happening that will give us a very bad footprint for the future. And people also think that they look at the judiciary, it has to be sanitized. One of the ways to execute, absolutely. But if there's an adverse findings, then of course a recommendation will be made for a removal and all of that. But we've been hearing from experts, lawyers, in fact, and all of that. But this time around, we have hit the public. We want to hear from the general public what their take on this whole matter is. Let's hear from some of them.
President John Dramani Mahama on April 22, 2025, suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Saki Tokonu after determining a prima facie case on 3 petitions that were presented to him. We are here on the streets of Accra to find out from Ghanaians how they feel about this decision.
I think, the processes are being followed. And so once the Constitution enjoins the President to do what he's doing, I think it's in order. I don't think it's bad. It goes to improve our democracy, so let the processes be exhausted. And then if at the end of the day it is determined that she should go, then yes, But by all means, you can't have a situation where she's in place and she's being investigated. She can't have the peace of mind to be able to concentrate on the job. And then also maybe she could actually still in place, she could interfere with the processes. So I think it's okay.
Look, I have given your mama 98% on that particular thing. Look, this is what leadership should be.
We don't know no and came what can maintain you na way no omuhwe ni ya anke bia anko bi ni ye e say the oba no afa so beka say so be say president foforo de bia ma amamu no e ti ko akiri ndia ka me kwam fam dia nka on consider na je wanye ni yeru omutunufo ho na nka ontu ana mo no foforo se be ya ensan ko akiri na di wo to so nko animum ene mo nka bo Ghana.
As the president of the nation, the Council of State members are the electoral body that was supposed to advise the president. So the president, in his good nature, has taken the first step to consult them. Because if it was an autocratic rule, he would have just decided to suspend her without any further or give her the chance to know what is going on. But he forwarded it to the Council of State, and based on their advice, this is the outcome. So I don't think he acting on it is kind of mean or it's not fair on the part of the Chief Justice. But we should understand that it's not only the president, but he's acting based on the advice of the Council of State, of which are the members representing every region in Ghana.
I like the way he suspended her, because the reason why I like it that the woman is there for MPP, and we also need this justice woman that will be there, or justice person that will be there, that he will not play passion to one party and another party. So I like the way he suspended her.
Yeah, I support the decision, because you can't be there just like that and someone will come to you that you have to leave your seat. No, she did something. Yeah, as I was saying, no one is above the law. You understand me? Yeah. So I think it's a very good decision.
So those are some of the reactions.
A lot of the people we spoke to actually in support of her suspension.
Yes, a lot of people, in fact, from the point that they've just been made. But the point that could also be made is that different opinions have been expressed.
Exactly.
Some people think that it was a step in the right direction. Others also think that, look, those things are happening. Just use this as a catalyst for her to set up and do things.
But you see,
she has not been found culpable of doing anything.
But because it's a constitutional provision,
absolutely,
it makes it quite difficult. Maybe it's time, as we are looking at constitutional, maybe it's time to relook at that article, the clause 8 of the article 146. Maybe, just maybe, we may have to take a critical look at that.
I'm sure that the Constitutional Review Committee, once it's in motion, will also look at, especially so because it has come at a time that some of these issues are coming up.
Exactly.
So the spotlight will be put on such provisions, and they have to look at it critically. And one of the things that people have also mentioned is the in-camera hearing.
Yes.
Yeah, the in-camera hearing.
Yes. Maybe Article 146 in its entirety may have to be looked at.
What about the security of it, the security nature of it? Because once you make it public, it's going to expose a lot of things that ought to be.
But this was somebody whose vetting was made public.
I agree, but I understand why people will say that. We don't know how, as a public officer, how the security of the office is. You go there are certain things that ought not to come public. Even in court, in the normal court proceedings, there are certain times that in the course of trial where it is done in open court, some of them come and then everybody is asked to leave. The court is cleared or it is held in chambers just because of how sensitive the whole matter is and all of that. But I think that it has come at a time that the Constitutional Review Committee is in motion, and some of these things will come to their attention. It's very interesting how the whole thing pans out. But what is clear is that the Chief Justice has not been sacked. There's nothing adverse established against her. All that we have heard is allegations that have been made.
Exactly.
And the point is that she's supposed to come and respond to the allegations that have been made.
Either by herself or through her lawyers.
Absolutely. For her to do that, the framers of the Constitution or the powers that be think that stepping aside is the best way to deal with the situation, hence the suspension that has come. So let's keep that in mind. As we speak, she has been suspended, but she has not
been entirely removed.
Nothing has been established that she's done something wrong or not. So until such time that the committee led by Justice Gabriel Palmer, in fact, he is the second most senior on the Supreme Court bench, is chair, and Justice Samuel Esiedu is also in there. It was one of the judges. In fact, the interlocutory injunction, you noted that the last court sitting, we did indicate that for unavoidable reasons, the case was adjourned to May 6th. The panel was 5, or is 5. He was absent that day.
Oh, okay.
He was absent. So I'm sure that once in the mix of all these things, we'll know on the 6th of May, we'll be in court to see what the decision. But there are many who think that what has happened has rendered the substantive matter and then the subsequent interlocutory matters moot. But of course, the laws will be at the Supreme Court on May 6th and all of that. But one other issue that I'm talking to you about this morning is Galamsey issues. Yes.
Raging.
Galamsey issues. And in fact, for those who are closer to the scene, will know how impactful, how deadly, dangerous the issues of Galamsey is, especially to our river bodies, especially to farmlands. Now you go out there to buy plantain, just one tuber of plantain, and Lily, very expensive. Cassava, very expensive. You cannot find the natural food that we used to find on the market. Nowadays you cannot, all because our farmlands have been destroyed for Galamsey activities and all of that. So on April 17, some 29 persons were arrested at the Tano and then Subiri rivers. The day after, on the 18th of April, another 12 were arrested. All of them put together 41. They have been arraigned and charged at the High Court. And if you look at the number of 41, 29 of them, in fact 33 of them are Ghanaians. 8 of them are Chinese. But out of the number, 4 of them are women. Very interesting scenarios, all of that. But what it is clear is that Justice Kizita Nako Akwashi has remanded all of them. In respect of the 29 what the court has said is that they are supposed to come back on the 30th of April, but their lawyers are to file bail applications for them. And then in respect of the 12, which include 2 women, then 29 has 8 Chinese. The set of 12 has 4 women. The court has remanded all of them, and they will make an appearance on the 2nd of May, after the May Day holiday. And in all of that, the court has directed their respective lawyers to file bail application if they so wish. And the prosecution is also to respond to the respective bail application if they so wish. If they think that the accused person should not be granted bail, then they have to file the affidavit in opposition. But what are the charges? One, undertaking mining operations without license, and also possession of ammunition and firearms, and pollution of water bodies. Interesting charges over there. The plea have not been taken in relation to this one, all the charges that have been preferred against them. The brief facts were read in open court, and it was to the effect that, yes, they were seen conducting or engaging in illegal activities at the Tando River and, of course, the Subiri River near Samraboy in the western region. So on the 30th and 2nd of May, the squad of 29 and 12, respectively, will make an appearance in court. So this is all we have for you by way of court today, this morning, Lily.
Okay, Captain, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lily.
I'll catch you definitely on the flip side. I wish you all the best too. Let's head to the sports world. Yesterday, an interesting thing happened here in our studios. Who becomes the next GOC boss? That's coming up in the sports chat. The man who's always outside is inside today. GHOne said he's outside.
yeah, we outside.
Yeah. What's up in sports?
Right. So
who leads GOC?
So we have Mr. Mike Agri and then Mr. Richard Akpokavi. These are the 2 men.
2 front runners.
Yes, racing to become.
But who's your money on? That was a tight call. I put you right.
I want a third force. Yeah, I want a cheddar. But okay. I mean, so, but elections will happen on Saturday.
Okay.
And we'll be bringing it live as well. So we'll be there at Accra International Conference Center, and then the delegates will be in there. And you started with the elections, and so let's start off with what the minister was here yesterday, and he actually spoke on indiscipline among some of the federations, and he asked that, the next GOC president should clean house and make sure that the federations are disciplined. Let's get to listen to the Minister Kofi Adams speaking here at GH1 TV.
Okay.
To the federations. Most federations are not disciplined at all, and it has not helped the growth of sport. And I will not mince words with that. Some of them have just run these federations like family and friends. You see a husband and then a wife and then the daughter or the son are executives. You cannot run sports that way. The corporate governance. I know, yes, they will tell you it's their constitution, but there's a way you can guide as GOC by offering that kind of leadership under the huge umbrella body. And support to federations should be fair and maybe balanced. It should be fair and balanced. It should not be that, when I was contesting, maybe these persons didn't support me. This one spoke against me. So even if the federation has the potential, I'm going to punish them.
Right, so that was Honorable Kofi Adams there asking that, let's get some discipline into some of our federations. Now, the Director General of the National Sports Authority, Yaw Ampofo-Ankra, was also here and has actually spoke on maintenance. He says that, we need a dedicated fund for maintenance. And
I agree. I agree in totality.
Yeah. So, sometimes we wait until the facility gets bad, then we say that it's bad.
It gets so deteriorated that fixing it becomes more difficult. That's when we step in to maintain it or to refurbish. But it's time that we have a critical policy on maintenance of our facilities across the board.
So let's get to watch Yawan Bofwankra as well.
We have great stadia in almost every region, and the key ones, obviously, in the Western region. Unfortunately, Esipong has become a white elephant. The Bawumia Sports Stadium in Kumasi has challenges. Accra Sports Stadium has challenges. Tamale, we have a challenge when it comes to maintenance. Apart from the culture, we don't have what I would call a standing maintenance fund, which means that we shouldn't wait for there to be, problems. We should anticipate. And if we have a maintenance fund, regardless of whatever the challenges are, we should be able to, address them by going into that fund and dealing with whatever is necessary. Camping is great. If you have the right facilities, it saves you money from traveling to neighboring countries who are more resourced, or even in Europe or Asia. You can save that money and use that into other areas where it would help the athletes to motivate them. So infrastructure, and in particular stadia, is very critical. And
Yao Ampofu Ankra there. Now let's get to weightlifting because Mary Agba Hughes, who is a national record holder for the national weightlifting team, has come out to criticize the president of the National Weightlifting Federation. And the story actually begins from the athletes going to Mauritius for a tournament, and then the president comes out to say that, don't get them registered. According to her, the president has issues with some of the athletes who spoke against his administration. But we understand now that it has been cleared, and some of them have started competing.
Mine is quite frankly a disappointment in the lack of accountability for when things go wrong or when things go right. There is not a lot of athlete representation in our federation. There is no women representation in our federation. It's something that's just seems to be hidden and not spoken about. So right now, quite frankly, the disappointment is that if there is an election going on and other people want to contest and run, it shouldn't be something that someone takes for themselves. It shouldn't be a punishment on the athletes. So currently, the issue that happened was on Monday, the president went and removed every athlete who has spoken against his candidacy, because for the past 4 years when he became the president, he hasn't really helped us. He hasn't represented us properly. And in pure Ghanaian macho man fashion, it's more like, okay, I'm going to go there, remove everybody's names, and they won't compete. And it created an uproar. Everybody in the weightlifting community has been calling me, texting me from all over the world, calling my athletes, my teammates, my friends, everybody, and wondering why this is happening. This never happens in no other federation. No other country does this.
Well, so Mary Agba Hughes is a national record holder with the national weightlifting team. So we understand that the issues have been resolved, and then they will start competing. We wish them all the best, and we hope to see some medals when the competition ends. Let's end off with the CAF Schools Championship happening right here in Accra at the University of Ghana Stadium, because Ghana actually got a good start here. So they beat Uganda 2-0 in the under 15 for the boys, and then for the ladies they also got a 1-0 win against Morocco in there. So South Africa also lost to Uganda. Well, for today's fixtures, we'll see Ghana take on South Africa today at exactly 11 a.m. and then at 3 p.m. we would also see Ghana take on Morocco in there. So it promises to be exciting at the University of Ghana Stadium. It is free, so get to Okpongolo right about now and then get to enjoy some good football. Well, that should do it for the sports chat this morning. We do have the game at 1 p.m. with Joel, and then Monica. My name is Jones ADZI, of course.
You're outside. Thank you very much, Jones, for that sports chat. Let's tell you what the newspapers are reporting this morning. I begin with the Daily Guide newspaper. It says, I didn't lose over Muslim faith. That's according to Dr. Bawumia, and Dr. Bawumia shaded my uncle, please. Mohammed Sachs, Tamale Teaching Hospital CEO, Dr. Abdullah is now acting. Tokono's response to petitions pop up. New MMDC's list is out. Cultivate spirit of forgiveness. Christians urged. This is very important because very often we think that forgiveness is for the other person, but it's for us. Daily Post. Wuntumi's account frozen by the financial intelligence. I'm wondering why Kweju Chumbuafo's picture is on the front page of the Daily Post together with, Chairman Wuntumi. I know he's the chief executive for the FIC, but what does his picture have to do with Chairman Wuntumi? Anyway, of suspended CJ Tokono, President Mohammed has demonstrated consistency and fidelity to the 1992 Constitution. That's according to Adiji Tamaklo. This is a confession. Sami Jenfi reacts to Justice Tokono's response. Gold Board commences licensing of service providers. The Ghanaian Times. Newborns to receive hepatitis B vaccination from October. That's according to Dr. Ponsachiano. 13 perished, others injured in gory accident on the Akwa-Kumasi Highway. Very unfortunate. Mineral wealth must benefit everyone. That's according to the Vice President. I know you see Dr. Fusampo's picture, but speaking on behalf of the Vice President. Researchers, policymakers discuss health systems strengthening in Africa. This is very critical. The New Crusading Guard says Bawumia endorses Professor Okwe's report, says findings backed by facts. CJ rejects misconduct allegations. GMA condemns dismissal of Tamale Teaching Hospital CEO. Government initiates exit plan with Goldfields. GJ demands justice over Ahmed Swale's murder. The Daily Graphic says, at IMF World Bank spring meetings at Washington, D.C., Africa calls for debt restructuring. GJA, the Ghana Journalists Association, demands reconstitution of the National Media Commission Board. Government rolls out chip-embedded passports. Very good initiative. Government Goldfields reach agreement on Damang Mines transition. That's it for the Daily Graphic. So these are hosts of newspapers headlines that we brought you this morning. You can grab copies on your various newsstands and read the stories in detail. Alternatively, you can log on to the various websites and then read the stories. Or you can log on to starfm.com.gh. We have a host of stories there for you to read as well. My name is Lily Mohammed. I'm back after this reader with my guest. To the show. This is still GH today here on GH1 TV. Earlier on, Inside Out, I told you that the Tamale Teaching Hospital has a new CEO. Dr. Abdullah has been appointed by President Mahama after the CEO, Dr. Alidu, was asked out after an altercation with the Minister of Health on an unannounced visit at that particular facility. Many are reading, I told you, many are reading political meanings to it. Many are saying that the decision was an emotional one. Let's find out why the previous CEO for the Tamale Teaching Hospital was sacked from that particular facility. Was it because of that altercation with the minister or other reasons? Tony Goodman is spokesperson for the Ministry of Health, and he joins me via phone. Mr. Goodman, thank you very much. Good morning to you. It's been such a long time. How have you been?
Really, I've been blessed. No, I'm not doing bad. How about you?
I'm doing awesome. It's good to hear from you. But was the decision to sack the Tamale Teaching Hospital outgone CEO based on the fact that there was an altercation with the Minister of Health?
Thank you very much. Good morning to our viewers. Let me just correct this impression. The CEO did not have any confrontation with the minister. The minister did not have any confrontation with anybody. What actually happened was that the doctor, who is the head of accident and emergency, is the one you saw in the video talking to the minister and Alhaji Suleini. That doctor, as we speak, is at full.
Okay.
He's not going through any indisciplinary procedure, disciplinary procedure. He's not going through any questioning whatsoever. That doctor is there. The CEO, as part of our administrative procedure, to re-inject some new energy into the hospital, has been asked to step aside, or his appointment has been terminated as CEO, not as a medical doctor, as CEO. And then a new CEO has been appointed. So that is actually the situation. The minister went there to just stop a reprisal attack that was coming from the community, because they believe that a negligence of a doctor led to the death of a patient in there. So the minister quickly went there, called his colleague Alhaji Suleini, so that they can see how best they can address the situation. He addressed the situation. During that period, he decided to go around the hospital. And then when he was talking to this medical doctor, the medical doctor was alive. And then he was captured in the video. So the two issues are not the same. The doctor who has been asked to step aside needed some logistics. They got to Accra yesterday and has been working around the clock to get these logistics. As I speak to you today, they have invited the directors of the hospital to get these equipment to go and inject some life into the hospital so that our people up north will receive the best care we want for them. Thank you.
Tony, you say that the minister is working around the clock to provide certain things that he asks for. I have seen a press release from the Doctors Association of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, and they have made about a 21-point demands. How many of these are going to be met in the next couple of days? Because owing to these demands, they have suspended OPD and emergency services. Has that come to your attention, by the way?
Yes, last night, around 8, thereabouts, we saw this press release. That, as I said, the minister, when they got back and started working, you know, some of those items you have to import some may not be at store and all that. So he actually went ahead to trigger this process, because he was alarmed to know that most of those things were not working in the facility and was not also told. So we have to quickly put in place measures to get these things for them.
Were these not in the handing over notes?
I have not seen the minister turning over, but I can tell you that when he got there, he learned that these things were not working.
Okay.
These things were not working and came back to provide the logistics for them. Let's use this medium to appeal to our gallant doctors at the Tamale Teaching Hospital to please return to work. The minister has listened to their plight. They have started working around the clock to provide the needed logistics for them to work. I'm pleading with them to go to work, please.
Okay, since you're pleading with them to go back to work, they make other demands aside the logistical demands. They are requesting for an unqualified apology from the minister. Is that something the minister is going to do if you want them back at post?
Do we know exactly why the minister is apologizing? Is it because of the termination of the appointment? Or because he asked his officer not to alter a particular way that may look insensitive? Or visiting the hospital? Or stopping the reprisal attack from the community? Which one? What is important is for the minister to listen to what was happening around the place and left Accra to go restore calm there and has come back to make sure that logistics that are needed is being provided. I'm sure that should suffice and that should go beyond any apology because the minister's action should be commended.
But I have also cited a release from the Minority Caucus on Health in Parliament that they say that the decision to sack the CEO was unlawful and emotionally charged one. On hindsight, who does the buck stop with when it comes to operational facilitation of the Tamale Teaching Hospital? Is this the CEO or the Ghana Health Service, the Ministry of Health?
Thank you very much. The Tamale Teaching Hospital is an agency under the Ministry of Health. Ghana Health Service is also an agency under the Ministry of Health. So the CEO is appointed by the President in consultation with the Governing Council. That power can also be delegated to the Minister for Health. So the buck, when it comes to the oversight responsibility of that hospital is the Ministry of Health.
So if it was the Ministry of Health and the current state of the Tamale Teaching Hospital is the reason, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the major reason for which the CEO has been asked to go home? The current state of the Tamale Teaching Hospital?
Exactly.
Okay, so if the current state is why he's being asked to go home, and you're saying that the ministry superintends has oversight responsibility over the Tamale Teaching Hospital, why is he being asked to go home when he doesn't have oversight? He just superintends over what he's been presented with.
Yeah. So when it comes to equipment and logistics, as the CEO, you must you run those equipment. When they are not working, you fix them. If they go beyond you, you inform the ministry. I'm saying that the minister got to know that these equipment were all down when he got there. The minister learned a lot of things were not working there. It wasn't working. Most of the life-saving equipment you expect that you would run a hospital, they're not being run. And the minister thought that if I have officers in this facility who are supposed to alert me in terms of things that go beyond them, and I have not been informed, it means that we need somebody, we need a different person who understands such rudiment. We can't take over. The CEO, in terms of his profession, is a medical doctor. He's very good. But we believe that regarding this managing the hospital, a different person is needed at this point in time.
Was this a political decision? Because the person who's been appointed, many are reading political undertones to this. He was at one point the NDC parliamentary candidate for Karaga. Is that why he's being appointed?
You can be a class prefect. You can be whatever in your previous life. But if this time around your expertise is needed somewhere, why not? If your expertise is needed as a person, because you have gone to contest, you should not be given the opportunity.
If there was no altercation, well, since you say it was not an altercation, if there was no exchange of words between the minister and some health personnel of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, will the CEO have been sacked?
No, so I'm saying that the CEO wasn't sacked because of that.
But Tony, the minister also visited the Rage Hospital here in Accra, and in his visit, he was not happy with the condition of the Rage Hospital. Why is the CEO of the Rage Hospital still at post?
So, both issues cannot be placed in the same context.
Okay.
That is why it's important for people to know that Leicester has no political connotation. I think when you go to a hospital and a teaching hospital and life-saving equipment are not working, then we are in trouble. A teaching hospital, MRI is not working, CT scan is not working, X-rays, these are down. And where Tamale Teaching Hospital is placed is strategic. It takes care of the northern sector, including some neighboring countries, Togo and then Burkina Faso. So if you have such a hospital and things are not working, you only have to get somebody who understands the importance of the facility to run it. So there are two separate issues.
Will the minister be replicating this across the board in the next couple of weeks or days?
The minister has sent a clear signal to managers of various facilities across the country that is going to use different approaches to get the result. The result is not for him, but it's for the people of this country. What will make you and I go to hospital and get the best care? That is what the minister is going to do.
Okay.
We all must be ready to support the minister to achieve it. We go to hospitals one way or the other, and we know what we see. The minister even commended the workers or health workers across the country and said, he knows the circumstances under which they work, but we must give our professional best. He will also provide the needed logistics under the constraints of financial burdens we have in this country. So all of these things are there for the minister to do. He's going to do a lot and make sure that you and I go to hospital and then we get the dignity we are.
In that regard, I want to just shift a bit from the Tamale Teaching Hospital. A couple of days ago, I engaged some rotational nurses, and they claim that they are owed 11 months of allowances arrears. And so from the 30th of April, they will lay down their tools. They claim that they have petitioned the Ministry of Health. Has this petition come to your desk?
Yes, I met the president yesterday. I saw the press release, and I invited the president.
Okay.
Yesterday, and then together with other colleagues in the office, we met him to understand the issues. It has been that has been the practice for about 6 to 5 years now.
Okay.
The financial clearance for rotational nurses is so at times they'll complete their rotation before they even get their allowances. You know, this is a national service kind of thing. But their salary is with the ministry. So maybe going forward, we have to just release all of them to the national service to take care of. Because those doing the degree, they are still under national service and they receive their salary. So what actually happened, their financial clearance was sent to finance around November last year. And after the election, or before the election, nothing happened. So we are taking the matter up again to make sure that we get financial for that. So that is the situation. In the press release, they mentioned also that their colleagues who are currently about to do their national service orientation, they should place them at their regions so that they don't go through stress when it comes to getting accommodation and all that because the allowances delay. So these are not in our purview, but we engage National Service Authority to see how best that can be done. So yes, we saw it yesterday. We invited them to have some meeting with them.
Okay, Tony, thank you very much for speaking to us. We always come knocking on your doors, and you know that you always respond when we call you. Thank you very much. So that's spokesperson for the Ministry of Health, Tony Goodman. The Tamale Teaching Hospital is in the spotlight. There is a new sheriff that is going to superintend over the activities of the Tamale Teaching Hospital. The Minority Caucus on Health in Parliament are raising eyebrows. They say that it was unlawful, it was emotionally charged. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Health says he was not relieved of his position because of the seeming altercation between the service or the health personnel of the Tamale Teaching Hospital and then the minister. It was because of the current state of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, for which the outgone CEO superintended over. It's now time for the breakfast review. First review this morning, Theophilus Jumega, as Junior Esquire. He's a mining engineer and a member of the NDC communications team. We're waiting for Kwesi Boche Junior Esquire, who's a member of the NPP communications team, to join us here. But I'll begin with Theophilus. Theophilus, good morning to you. How have you been?
Fine, thank you. How are you too? Good
morning.
I'm
doing awesome. Good morning.
Good. This week had been a very good week, isn't it?
How so?
A lot of good news.
Really? What is the good news? My ears are itchy. Tell me.
You were just on one of them,
which
the
is?
Tamale issue. Until the minister went there, these doctors never knew we had these problems.
Oh, they knew. Because interestingly, I opened the phone lines this morning and I had some callers from Tamale who said that, well, I mean, good riddance anyway, because the state of the Tamale Teaching Hospital needs a critical look.
So that's good news for the week. Then we had a Akonta mine. That's good news also for the week.
What about Akonta mining specifically? Tell me.
For the revocation of the mining leases that they had, I think it's good news.
It's good news. And then which other good news is there?
We also had a situation where we know where we are now with the CJ situation.
How is that good news?
Because the law is the law. I have nothing personal against her. I admire her from afar. I've read a couple of her judgments and they are very good. But the silence, we don't know where we are with everything, what's going to happen. Now we know the clear path.
But how is that a clear path? I mean, the constitutional provision says when something of that sort has been established, when somebody reports or presents a petition, the president should forward it to the Council of States. The president should make sure there's a committee in place. The CJ should be suspended. She should be afforded a fair hearing. So that's a constitutional provision. How is that good news?
So if you're doing the right thing right, it's good news. Yes, you're doing everything well. I mean, have you heard anybody complaining about procedural errors or
no? Because I mean,
so everything is
146 is clear.
Yes, so that's the word. It brings no ambiguity. Very, very clear. So it's good news. Let's get this done.
Is this not a political witch hunt?
No.
The NPP has raised it particularly.
No, have you heard any MPP member quoting a law, any section of any law, any article or anything? When you listen to lawyers not quoting law and they begin to talk sociology or psychology, you must be worried. Yes, lawyers were not quoting law. They were quoting sociological expressions, theories, etc. Let them quote the law. Let them say, this is the law that has been infringed upon. This is what is not being done right. Beyond that, let's allow the processes to follow. And if you read 146 carefully, you go to the last article. It says that the president may, at any stage,
revoke the suspension.
Yes. So we have so much in the kitty that everybody will be happy about.
That's the clause 11 of the
yes, clause 11. Yes, so we have something in the kitty. Everybody will be happy about the petitioners, Council of State, the President, the CJ. Everybody will find.
But
something.
have you seen these petitions yourself?
I've seen some things that's purported to be leaked petitions. I've seen a couple of them.
You're a lawyer. Do you think they have merit?
Is to prevent the CJ having to respond to every Tom, Dick, and Harry petition every day. She can get 10 in a day, and she'll have to leave everything, respond to that, get another 10. No. Just as the former president did it, others look at it. This does not merit anything. We don't send it to you. We throw it away. We move on. And for your information, there have been series of petitions against almost every CJ until date.
Yes.
But you've not heard of some of the, let me use the word, the noise around this particular
Even as far back as 1991.
Yes, there have been so many petitions against all the CJs. The sitting president looks at it and says, this doesn't merit any determination. Let's drop this and move on. And it has been like that until now. We are hearing the situation that some had even gone to court to say, give a copy to the CJ to respond. There is, to me, very good checks and balance that don't bother the CJ with all these things so that the CJ will have time and do her administrative duties. So, well, interesting days ahead. We just hope, to quote the current CJ or the CJ that has been suspended because there's an acting CJ, to quote her words, the law is the law, no matter the noise we make.
There are some calls for the in-camera bit of the 146 to be critically looked at. I mean, since we are reviewing our constitution, is that something that we should review?
Yes, I believe that. You see, our constitution, as we say, has both the spirit and the letter. We are growing, and the constitution must have the ability to grow as well. I believe that we need to look at it. You see, the in-camera, as you know, there was a time I explained here the means of interpretation. You go for the ordinary word. If it doesn't make sense, then you look for something else. In-camera means in-camera. In-camera doesn't apply to documents to be in-camera. Yes. However, if we are going to talk about the real committee work, I feel that the real committee work should still be in camera. Because even administratively, assuming you have an infraction at work here and you are being taken to disciplinary proceedings, they will do it in camera. They won't invite every Tom, Dick, and Harry to go and sit down and listen to it. So that bit of it.
But I was not appointed by any appointing authority. I was only giving a job.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
When I was giving my job, it was not in the interest of the public. So if there's a disciplinary action against me, it is not in the interest of the public. For somebody whose verdict was public, I mean, then maybe we should also have a look at the vetting of persons in the judiciary.
You sort of have taken it to a different. You see, your job, if we narrow it to your job, has administrative laws attached to it.
Exactly.
And your job, even though nobody appointed you and it's not in public interest, when you are, let's assume, being taken to disciplinary proceedings, the letter that invites you or tells you are suspended might include things like you have a right to a counsel of your choice. Is that public? No, that's a private law situation. Your job might also say you can come with a union rep, etc. But your job does not allow. You are saying that the public is not interested, but your colleagues might be interested. What if all your colleagues decide that we are going to sit in? That's the sort of thing I'm talking about. So your public is a small public within your workplace. So let us not stretch it to say we're going to stop the vetting of...
I'm not saying stopping, but I mean...
do the vetting also in camera.
In camera, because it's also a sensitive...
You see, the qualifications to be a Chief Justice, there are certain things. Somebody of high moral character. So you need to demonstrate that you have a high moral character. So someone might petition or send a memo to the appointment committee to say, hey, this person is not a person of high moral character, and they would like to see that. And if you remember, one of the Chief Justices previously, the petition against him was that he reduced his age, or he was falsifying his date of birth, etc. All those things would have come out during the vetting, or the person's petition came out as a result of the vetting. So I don't think that the vetting will do it in camera, but the administrative work of removal. Remember, when you are going to go to committee work about removal of a Chief Justice, there may be things like maybe fraud, there may be things on her character or his character, there may be things about his family or her family, and you don't want all those things out there in the public for people to start to know. Remember, we don't live in isolation. The committee members go to churches, they go to mosques, they go to markets, etc. They have friends.
Belong to a community.
The community. So they come home and someone says, "Oh, I watch it on TV. Have you really watched his or her body language?" You need to have asked this question more. I feel this is it. Oh no, when you go back tomorrow, make sure that person is gone. They will do all those things. We want to avoid situations like that. Even jury trial, when the judge sends them to home, they warn them that don't listen to the news, don't pay attention to what you listen to in the courtroom. So some of these things, I think that there are policy reasons and behind it, and very good reasons why we should have. But the petition itself can be made known, so that we all know, oh, this is the reason why. Because remember, we are about 33 million or 30 million Ghanaians. 33 million Ghanaians. Then one or two say, remove this person who is heading all of us. I think we need to know the grounds. We don't wait until everything is done, then we are told that this was the reason why the person was removed, or they tried to remove the person. That is my view, why I feel that I will agree with you that the petition in future, any petition for the removal of such a person, a superior court judge or a Chief Justice or somebody like that, must be made known to the public. They should release it. I don't see anything wrong with it at all.
Kwesi Botwe Jr. Esquire is a member of the NPP communications team and he's joined me. Hi Kwesi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
It's good to have you.
Good to be here.
We're talking about the removal of the Chief Justice. Now she's been suspended. We are learning that more petitions have been presented for her removal. What are your thoughts?
Thank you very much. Good morning to you. Good morning to Council and to everybody watching us. To start with, it is important that we mention that NPP doesn't speak for the CJ, or NPP doesn't do PR for the CJ.
It doesn't?
No. NPP doesn't do PR for the CJ.
Okay, I know you want to make a point, but right. I want to ask something. Do some people in the NPP speak for the CJ? I have heard Nanabi make certain statements.
The NPP, nobody in the NPP speaks for the CJ. But you see, the NPP is against the unconstitutionality surrounding this whole matter.
How so?
And the NPP is also against the orchestrated and engineered, masterminded, agenda to remove the CJ. That is what the NPP is against. But we don't speak for the CJ. You see, this whole issue happening cannot be isolated from the background. You've heard the national chairman of the NDC prior to the 2024 elections, and even after the NDC had won the 2024 elections, say times without number that they were going to remove the CJ and the commissioners of the Electoral Commission. You hear the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bande, corroborate what the national chairman mentions that, or asserts to that, they are determined and committed in removing the Chief Justice. And so if you hear political actors, express such opinions and such determination to remove the head of the judiciary, it's a bit worrying. And as citizens and as the largest opposition party, this is our worry and this is our problem with the entire process, because the entire process, like I have mentioned, looks extremely orchestrated. And it's beginning to seem to me that the NDC is extremely obsessed with Madame Gertrude Tokono. It looks like the moment they hear her name, or they do not even want to see her, or I don't know what the woman has done to them. But it looks more like a revenge sort of. I do not have a problem if a justice of the Superior Court
is to be removed or the CJ is to be removed. But I feel that let us respect due process. If you look at the petitions, in fact, I heard you ask counsel if he cited the petitions and all that. I believe that the case of Otaderi versus the Tiger IPR case makes it clear that where the petition is published, it invalidates the entire process, it truncates the entire process. The in-camera, as mentioned in Article 146, also by extension applies to the documents, that is the petitions. And so the petitions are to be held confidential. And so you may recall that when the Chief Justice wrote to the President to demand for copies of the petition, in the response to the Chief Justice, the Presidency categorically mentioned that the Chief Justice must endeavor to keep the petitions confidential. And so the in-camera provisions of Article 146 extends to the document. But you could clearly see that members of the NDC had access to the petition even before I haven't seen the petition. Have you seen the petition? I do not think so.
No, I haven't.
But it looks like members of the NDC, because counsel said he has seen something that purports or looks like the petition. I have not seen anything that looks like that. So it looks like members of the NDC of the petitions rendering the entire process, void and all that. And so I feel it's a grey area. And so this is an area of study.
But sorry to cut in. You are lawyers. I am not. The Supreme Court is not bound by its previous decisions, is it?
But it is persuaded by its previous decisions. And until the Supreme Court departs from its previous decision, exactly, their previous decision remains the position of the law. As it stands now, the Supreme Court has not held in any case that the publication of the petition does not invalidate or render the process void. So the case of Otaderi still stands. It's still good law as of now, exactly. And so in fact, I don't even know the intention why some of the NDC members. In fact, I can even conclude to say that the petition has been shared with members of the NDC, because clearly majority of ordinary Ghanaians have not had access to the petitions.
Let me correct him here.
No, let me land. Let me land.
It's on Ghana Web.
Let me land. Okay. No, you let me land. Let me land.
Let me. So, I will check that shortly.
I mean, granted, without admitting it's on Ghana Web, I maintain that members of the NDC had access. And in fact, I can make reference to 2 days ago, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, was on Asempa explaining portions of the petition. As at that time, Ghana Web had not published the petition. And so it is clear that members of your party had access to the petition before the petition coming out. But you see, I think that political actors and political activists should be very mindful of not politicalizing the judiciary. I mean, we can play politics with our issues and all that, but when it comes to matters of the judiciary, I feel we should be a bit restrained from playing politics with it. But right now, it's beginning to look like some persons or some political actors are very much interested in playing the political football with the judiciary, which I feel is totally unacceptable. Because even in times of coup d'etat, where the legislature is not working, the executive has been overthrown, it's the judiciary that holds, the fort. And even in those times, people have land matters. The court should hear those things. People want to divorce their husbands and their wives. The court should be able to hear those things. And so I feel that we should protect the sanctity and the integrity and the credibility of the court at all costs. And as lawyers and as officers of the court, I believe that we have a duty.
Is this not part of protecting the sanctity of it?
No, I do not think so. Okay. I do not think so, because you see, the Constitution is clear on the reasons you can, base upon to remove the CJ. The Constitution is clear on stated misconduct and infirmity of mind. I do not know what
body.
Yes, I do not know what stated misconduct is. I haven't seen any legal definition for what stated misconduct is. So we do not know what stated misconduct is. That's why I mentioned that this issue is a gray area for constitutional interpretation. it is an area of study for lawyers and students of law. And so the processes should be transparent. It should be an academic process that would help, the growth and help the growth of the law. And so I feel what the NDC is doing is only trying to play politics with the issue and not, face the fact. Because if we want to go into the details of the matter, I hear counsel mention that MPP members are only making noise and they have not quoted the law. The case of the MPP is that if you look at Article 14610, the powers conferred upon the president by Article 14610 is discretionary, because the Constitution used the words may. The president may suspend the Chief Justice by a warrant. Now, when you go to Article 296, which regulates the use or the exercise of discretionary power, it provides in Article 296C that the president may, by a regulation, exercise, or any person exercising the discretionary authority or power, may by a regulation exercise those powers in such a manner that is not capricious, should be fair, candid, and all those things. Now let us ask ourselves that which regulation is guiding this exercise of discretionary power? There isn't any such regulation. And so my sister, I feel this whole thing could have been done properly.
Okay.
And that is why
How proper will it be for you if you feel that it should have been done proper? What is your determination?
You see, in fact, I even wish that this never happened. If you ask me, I wish this never happened, because this is the head of the judiciary. Some people equate that to Madame Charlotte Osei's issue, and then they ask you, where were you when Charlotte Osei was being removed and all this? But you see, the judiciary is an arm of government. The CJ is the head of the judiciary. And if you want to remove the CJ, I feel the CJ should have committed, a very serious offense. But you hear the speculations going on that she didn't fulfill her travel. Misconduct. But what is stated misconduct?
Well, if we cannot determine it.
Exactly.
Subject to
Exactly. And so that's what I'm saying, that it's a gray area. So on what basis, granted without admitting, the Council of State decides to remove Madam Tokuno, does it mean that if you breach a travel regulation of an agency, it amounts to stated misconduct? We have to know what stated misconduct. Maybe Senior will help us with the legal definition of stated misconduct, because we even know that even during criminal trials, the accused person ought to know the kind of offense he or she has committed, so that he or she can properly defend himself or herself. And so it is important that the CJ knows what she is, up to, what she's responding to, what she's up against, what offenses she has committed, against, stated laws and laws that governs her office. And so I feel that, in all fairness and in all honesty, I feel this is a premeditated agenda by the NDC, which is being carefully, not even say careful, which is being carelessly executed, and it also betrays the priorities of the NDC, because if you have a government that promised to reduce cost of living but has rather increased electricity by 14.75%, increased water bill or levies by 4%, and the interest of the government is rather to remove the CJ, it tells you the kind of government.
That's part of the IMF conditionalities, no?
Which one is it?
The increment of tariffs. It's part of the reforms that the IMF gave Ghana.
Perfect. But you see, if you look at the IMF reforms, the reforms clearly stated that the government may increase tariffs based on inflation. When inflation goes up, the government may increase tariffs. When the exchange rate, also goes up, the government may increase tariffs to, balance the situation. Let's ask ourselves, what is the rate of inflation? Has inflation gone up from 7th in January till now? Has the exchange rate, skyrocketed from 7th January to now? So I believe that the increase in utility is totally unwarranted, because this government didn't promise us. This government was fully aware of the IMF conditionalities before the electricity is increased by 14.75%, almost 15%, and water is increased by 4%. You don't, increase you don't decrease cost of living by increasing utility tariffs. And so I believe that this entire reckless agenda to remove the CJ is politically masterminded by the NDC. It is politically masterminded by the NDC, because if you realize that, you see, if you speak to ordinary Ghanaians, when I was coming, I heard one of your colleague journalists, speak to Ghanaians about the issue. You realize Ghanaians there's a mixed reaction about the issue.
A mixed bag.
And so you realize also from social media commentators that the NDC are bent on removing the CJ.
Social media commentators by the NPP?
No, I mean by the NDC. They are bent on, they are always saying, let's remove the CJ. And I've already told you that even the national chairman of the NDC has set times with that number. As early as 2 weeks ago, stated that the NDC is committed in removing the CJ and Madam J. Mensah and her deputies. Mustafa Gbande, just 3 days ago on one of your sister stations, mentioned that the NDC is committed in removing Madam Tokuno. And so I do not know why the NDC wants to remove Tokuno. You hear some of their people say that they want to remove Tokuno so they can initiate prosecutions against purported thieves in MPP or whatsoever. But you see, all their reasons are extremely frivolous and empty. I think that if you want to remove a chief justice, it should be done properly. It should be done in a meticulous manner, because it is an area that is novel to our law, and so let us pay much attention to some of these things. But we shouldn't rush it. We shouldn't look like a personal vendetta. It shouldn't look like we are using the removal of the CJ to settle score or what have you. Let us take our time. Let us go through the right process. Let us respect rule of law. Let us respect due process. Let us respect constitutionalism.
Okay, Mr. Jimenga, do you have a battle?
I have so much. It's interesting that my colleague here.
Please make it brief.
Yes, my colleague here doesn't know that the petitions were published on Ghana Web. Yet he knew that 2 days before they were published, Sami Jamfi made a comment about it. It's interesting. You didn't know they were published, yet you knew 2 days before. Number two, he also used both 146 and 296 to talk about the fact that the president made by a constitutional instrument or legislative instrument. In both instances, he used may and is discretionary. So we can move on from that. I maintain that when you hear politicians and lawyers talking on constitutional issues and quoting philosophy, sociology, and quoting market indices, then there is a problem. He talks about the fact that we should take time and do this. President John Mahama has a very serious group of lawyers and advisors around him. Marietta Brew is very good. The current AG, very good. Look at the time it has taken for all this process. Even when the CJ said, give me 7 minutes, the president said, we are giving you 10 minutes. Give me 7 days. The president said, we are giving you 10 days to respond. Wherein lies the unconstitutionality about that? Wherein lies the non-due process about that? The process, as you had alluded to, is very clear. No ambiguity. Now, he is talking about the fact that they were talking about travel expenditure. You are not aware of the contents of the petition, yet you know that there were travel expenditure. My God, let's get real here. Now, he is also saying that we should do things according to the law. A committee has been set up. Now, 2 of those committee members are Supreme Court justices, people who have taken oath and sworn to oath to hold the rule of law high. Are you impugning the integrity of those guys that they can't do the right work? And we have 3 other ordinary members. I've even seen an associate professor in it. You think they will not do a good job? One person we all celebrated in this country, Domelevo, is on that committee. You think they will not do a good job? No. You know the contents of the... And let me say this. Before the president sent a copy of the petition to the Chief Justice, an MPP MP was in court saying that the president has not sent a copy to the Chief Justice. How did he know about that? Was the CJ in communication with them? Here relies my brother, very fine gentleman by all standards, telling us that they don't speak for the CJ. Yet all that they are doing appear to be that they are speaking for the CJ. I want to put on record, General Asiodun Ketia never said NDC is committed to removing the CJ. Look, General Mosquito is a very shrewd, very nice politician, experienced. He won't use such an expression. I listened to him. He said, if he has his own way, if he has his own way. Remember, we have said, a lot of people have complained about the judiciary. Look at the survey you went to conduct. Look at the number of people who were so happy or so in the favor of the CJ being suspended. As I said, personally, I have nothing against it. Perhaps she might even come back stronger. Nobody knew or nobody knows. That is why I am of the view that let the process continue. 146 is simple. Let it continue. And let's come to the end of it. And you see, because it's a gray area, as he has said, I agree. An area we have not ventured before. I believe that is why the steps are being taken gradually and being taken with care, so that at the end, nobody is overly hurt. We don't bruise ourselves and come back and do something wrong. If he's talking about the fact that there are constitutional infringes, etc., come on, the Supreme Court is there. Get to the Supreme Court. Tell them that what is being done is not correct. And the Supreme Court will listen to you. And once the Supreme Court rules in your favor, the whole process is truncated. And if it will be started all over again, it will be started all over again. So for me, let us leave tariffs at the current moment. You were talking about the CJ. Let's leave tariffs. He was asking whether the inflation has gone up or not. But he admitted that inflation hasn't gone up. Thumbs up for NDC. They are doing a good work. That shows that for the past 3 months, the inflation has not gone up. Oh, you asked?
I asked the question.
Okay. As you said, you admonished me to allow you to learn. Allow me to learn.
This one you are referring directly to me, Council.
Allow me to learn. That's the admonishment. So I've taken your admonishment. I'll behave henceforth like a kindergarten teacher, listening to you carefully. But he's saying that has the inflation gone up? He said, if inflation has not gone up, why do you have to increase tariffs? So he's saying that tariffs are being increased when inflation has not gone up. That is simple deduction. That is simple one. So if inflations are stable, why increase tariffs? Those are the questions. So to me, once inflation has not gone up and tariffs are being increased, it means they are doing something very good somewhere. Let us applaud the finance minister under the leadership of JM for the good work they are doing. I believe that let's allow the process.
Okay.
Let it continue.
Okay. Because you have something to say before I move to my next topic, or I can quickly move to my next
What I just have to say quickly is that Sami Jenfi made reference to the petition 2 days before Ghana Web published it, because I checked from Ghana Web and I realized it was published even less than 24 hours ago. But Sami
it was
Jenfi,
19 hours ago.
19 hours ago. But Sami Jenfi made his statement 2 days ago on Asampa FM. I can mention the name of the station. And so it is not as if I have conjured and I have seen the petition and I'm saying I haven't seen the petition. I haven't seen the petition. It is only maybe members affiliated to the NDC. If Council has seen the petition, he can share a copy with all of us. But I haven't seen the petition from anywhere.
I have cited that on Ghana Web, interestingly.
Then how do we even authenticate that?
Well,
how do we know that is the
that's why I use the word purported.
The Ghana Web publication says details are allegedly emerging.
Yes. All right. Yes. Okay. But I mean, proud to Council mention that I had not seen the Ghana Web story. Okay. But I heard Sami Jenfi, referring to the petition, explaining and mentioning and providing paragraphs of the petition, to the general public, and so it presupposes that he had access to the petition, and he's still the national communications member.
Well, he says he will not contest for that position. Well, for now but he says he will not contest.
But he still remains the national communication. He still attends the functional executive committee meetings of the NDC, and in the meetings they orchestrated and engineered to remove the CJ. I mean, they were all reportedly there. So I mean, yeah.
Let's talk about Akonta mining. Akonta mining has been in the news, and this morning there was a news item I cited on Daily Post that the FIC has frozen the accounts of Chairman Wontumi because he's the head of Akonta mining, and the Minerals Commission has been speaking. Yesterday, I engaged the Forestry Commission, who stated categorically, the deputy CEO stated categorically that Akonta mining was engaged in illegal mining around the Tano River and then the Nimri Forest. I engaged the legal counsel, legal rep for Akonta Mining, who said that, yes, their concession is close to the Tano River, but they are not perpetrating illegalities on the Tano River. Counsel.
Yeah, you see, there is, if you read Act 703, which is the Mining and Minerals Act. At about, I think, section 45 or 48, it gives you the rights when you have a mining lease. If you read that together with the LI 2462, you need to read the two of them to understand your rights as somebody who has a lease to mine. Now, and if you go to section 68 or 69 as well, it talks about situations where the mining lease can be revoked. Now, my understanding is that Akonta Mine wrote asking for prospecting license. First, there are 3 stages. You have the recce license, that's you just go, maybe fetch water, look at the ground.
Prospecting?
That's before. That's before prospecting. For example, someone tells you there is gold here, then you just go watch, look at the river, watch the grass, watch at the topography, etc. Talk to few people who have historical knowledge, then you move. The next one is prospecting. The prospecting that you can dig holes, etc., to fetch samples, to do analysis, to see what is in the ground. Now, my understanding is that that is what they applied for. And when you have prospecting license, you don't go mining based on a prospecting license. And in normal situation, when you have prospecting license, there are certain levels of trenches you can dig. There are certain level of drilling you can do. And you make sure that you try to close those trenches, etc., after you have gone through your prospecting. And during prospecting, when you find a mineral, you are supposed to submit it to the Minerals Commission, etc. Now, you don't get, so it's from the prospecting license that you do your environmental impact assessment, etc., for you to get a mining lease. Okay? Now, if you can't just go for prospecting license and it will give birth to mining lease automatically. It doesn't happen like that. Now, the Minerals Commission and the minister is saying that they have not granted them a mining lease to mine in that area. They have indeed applied for prospecting license. So if you have a prospecting license, you cannot go on and use the prospecting license to mine. You see, the part that worries me about Akonta Mine and all the noise and all the brouhaha around it is that we have all agreed that we have a problem that we are trying to deal with. I am told on authority that when Parliament reconvenes, the LI will be repealed. I am told on authority. Now, prior to that, I am aware that the reason they wanted to amend the LI was that they want to overhaul our total mining laws. No, our total mining laws were made in order to attract foreign investors. Much as it is very good and robust, it leaves a lot of gaps that people are exploiting. So why not do overhaul instead of repealing bits and amending bits? That's my understanding. But last night I got the information that once Parliament reconvenes, the LI will be repealed. Now, we are all saying that there's problem with the mining, Galamsey. Now, somebody has been found to be destroying our forest, where the person hasn't got license to do so. You see, even if you have license to mine in the forest reserve, you need to go and take entry license from Forestry Commission, etc. Those were not done. So if someone is found to have done such a thing, the best we could have all done is, let's raise our hands to say, good work done. Let's do it properly. But now I begin to hear that it's a political witch hunt. That's why the license is being... Let the details emerge. Then we know why they are freezing the account. FIC will freeze your account because of money laundering and stuff like that. Perhaps that is it. If that is it, yes, they have the mandate to do that.
Thank you very much. You see, this whole thing against Wontumi and Akonta Mining started as far back as 2013 when President Mahama, during the Part 1 presidency of President Mahama, when they decided to victimize and antagonize Chairman Wontumi and Akonta Mining. And so this is not new. This is not something that hasn't happened before. This is not something that was not expected. It was expected that the NDC would come after, Akonta Mining. But I have seen a statement from Akonta Mining issued 2 days ago. And they make the claim and assertion that Akonta Mining holds a large legal scale mining lease and not involved in Galamsey. Galamsey is basically illegal mining. Galamsey means you are mining without the requisite, license or authority to mine. But Akonta Mining is telling us that they do not even engage in, small scale mining. They have a large scale mining license from the government. Now, it is incumbent upon the government to tell us whether or not this assertion by Akonta Mining is true or otherwise. Number two, Akonta Mining tells us that currently, or as at the time the Lands Minister or Minerals Commission revoked their licenses, they were not mining anywhere in Ghana. They had paused all mining operations and were currently involved in land reclamation. And in fact, I have been reliably informed that Wontumi has planted coconuts and other, fruit and vegetables across all his mining concessions.
For what purpose?
For land reclamation purposes. The third point is that Akonta Mining tells us that no machine seized is traced to Akonta Mining. Government hasn't seized any excavator that has been traced to Akonta Mining, and also none of the 26 arrested Galamseyers work for Akonta Mining. Nobody, no employee of Akonta Mining has been arrested for Galamsey or whatsoever. And so basically, Akonta Mining has responded to the claims of the Land Ministry and the Minerals Commission that they are not involved in Galamsey, they are not involved in mining in the forest reserves or in the river bodies, and so they are not liable to, or they cannot be accused of what the minister is accusing them of. But you see, the fact remains the same, that Galamsey is ongoing, and it is the responsibility of President Mahama and the NDC government to solve Galamsey. Galamsey is going on in this country. Over the weekend, all persons who traveled to Kwawu will realize that when you get to Inyinem, people are mining in the river body with impunity. Galamsey is ongoing, and it is even a bit worse than what we were experiencing in 2024. It is now not the duty of President Akufo-Addo or Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia or the MPP to solve Galamsey. It is not the duty and the responsibility, and so arresting him will not really do much. The real problem is still ongoing. The government should face the problem and confront it and fight it. The government should stop playing the hide and seek games with Ghanaians. Galamsey is still ongoing. You promised us that in your first 120 days in office, you were going to repeal the LI. Why did you fail to repeal the LI? But you were able and succeeded in repealing e-levy. So you could have used the same energy to repeal the LI 2462. You could have used the same energy to repeal the LI, but the NDC blatantly refused to repeal the LI. They have an overwhelming majority in parliament that they could have used to, initiate these processes. So it clearly tells you that the president doesn't have the commitment to fight Galamsey. In fact, President Mahama, since becoming president or assuming the role of the president, have had the opportunity to speak to this country on three important occasions. The first one was during his swearing in as president. The second one was during his State of the Nation's address. The third one was during the 6th March anniversary. In fact, throughout these opportunities, he had to speak to the nation. He never mentioned the issue of Galamsey. He never mentioned any pragmatic steps this government have undertaken or this government intends to take in fighting Galamsey. The only thing we have seen this government do is the launching of the Blue Water Guards or Blue Water Army or Green Army or whatever they call it, of which I think that it's not really a proper approach to fight Galamsey. Because the minister himself tells us that these Galamsey, some of them have sophisticated weapons. Some of them are really good at what they do. And so the pictures I saw and a group of young people and old people I saw are not the people that can really fight the menace of Galamsey. And so as I land, I want to state categorically that this government has the duty and it is incumbent upon this government to solve the Galamsey menace. They should solve the problem. This is one of the reasons why the good people of this country voted for them. They should solve it and stop, the hide and seeks and the games they are playing with the people of this country.
Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have much time.
Just a quick one to say that GM is committed to solving the galamsey.
He hasn't demonstrated that.
And
he hasn't
NDC
demonstrated
will
that.
repeal the LI when Parliament. Yes.
2462.
Why didn't you do it during the first quarter?
When Parliament
reconvenes.
Why didn't you do it in the first quarter?
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So that's Theophilus Dureka.
Before we go, let me say a very good morning to His Excellency, former Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. You know, the MPP is embarking on
a thank you tour,
nationwide thank you tour from Saturday from the Western region. Dr. Bawumia is inviting all his other former aspirants to join him. I mean, this is a mark of a unifier. Dr. Bawumia has said times with that number that he is interested and invested in uniting.
Is that why he threw shade at Reverend John in Simfojo?
It wasn't a shade. And in fact, it is a fact that Dr. Bawumia didn't lose because he was a Muslim. In the history of the New Patriotic Party, no presidential candidate has won on the first attempt.
Okay.
President Kufuor won on the second attempt. Is President Kufuor a Muslim? Is he a Northerner? But he won on the second attempt. President Kufuor didn't win in 2008. Is he a Muslim? Is he a Northerner? He didn't win in 2012. Is President Kufuor a Muslim? Is he a Northerner? Okay. And so, if you look at the trajectory and the history of the New Patriotic Party, no presidential candidate has won an election on his first attempt. And you know, for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, as I land, for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, unfortunately for him, he was trying to do something that has never happened in this country, to break the 8. And so for him, you have a person who is contesting on a ticket of the MPP for the first time, and also trying to break the 8 for the first time, which has never happened. And also an incumbent government that was faced with a lot of challenges. And so you cannot say, or the claim that Dr. Bawumia lost because he's a Muslim is an extremely empty, claim and doesn't hold any water.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Kwesi Botwe Jr. Esquire. He's a member of the NPP Communications team. And Theophilus Jumega Jr. Esquire also is a member of the NDC Communications team and a mining engineer as well. My name is Lily Mohammed. I'm back after this breather. Stay tuned in. Show. This is still GH today here on GH1 TV. It's now time to talk about our reproductive health on Health Alert. A lot of misconceptions, a lot of myths about IVF. A lot of women say they go through IVF, and the moment they say it, people cringe. People think that, oh, is it because you cannot have your eggs fertilized naturally, or why are you going through IVF? Are these all misconceptions? Let's find out here on the show. My guest this morning, Alexis Amankwana, is co-founder of Repra Health, and Inas Khalida Mahdi is with Sister Song. She's a research consultant with Sister Song in the United States of America. Good morning, ladies. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Let's talk about us women. Yeah, there are a lot of thoughts, perceptions about IVF. When we say IVF, what is it about? Let's talk about it so the Ghanaian out there has a better understanding of what it entails to have an IVF.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So it's basically assisted technology to support women who want to have families, who want to have children. In Ghana, there's a lot of misconceptions around it. You know, in Ghana, we deal with issues around culture, religion, cost factor, around how to actually achieve your goals. In Ghana, too, women are choosing to have families later. There's individuals that have sickle cell. And so how do we use technology to really develop and gain the family that we want? And so we're going to talk about the cultural aspects between the U.S. and Ghana and how these issues are similar and different in some ways.
First of all, let's talk about Ghana. What are the issues, what are the facts surrounding IVF and fertility in Ghana? Are there numerous things being bandied about? Are they misconceptions, or in reality that is the truth?
Yeah, so some of the misconceptions is that fertility challenges are spiritual challenges. And that's something that we really have to talk about in our culture, that if a woman is unable to conceive after 6 months or 1 year, if she's not able to get pregnant after some time after being married, there's an issue. And that issue sometimes is said to be from your in-laws, from your background, from the type of, childhood that you had. And so we really have to understand that the need for fertility support has nothing to do with spirituality or cultural barriers. It's a need physically, and we need to address that so that we can support individuals who want to have families.
Let's then liken it to what is happening in the U.S. Are there similarities, or there's a vast difference with what is happening?
Sure. So I think a lot of the point of us gathering here today is really to talk about how our struggles in the U.S. are often misunderstood, in the same way struggles in Ghana are misunderstood. Women and individuals in the U.S. often face stigma, lots of isolation around their fertility challenges. They may suffer in silence. They may seek out alternative methods for fertility without necessarily having the education that they need to get the outcomes that they want for their family. So in our research, we found that there are similar barriers around financial costs to access fertility services, similar as there are here in Ghana. We also see stigma, and in the U.S. in particular, there are often delays in accessing care. So in the U.S. healthcare system, often there's a misconception that, Americans will have money, you can access care. There are lots of barriers around health insurance coverage, what health insurance may
are those
offer.
things misconceptions?
Oh, absolutely. I think from the perspective of people outside the U.S., they may assume that accessing fertility services is easy in the U.S.
Is it not?
It is not. Americans, particularly Black Americans, which is the perspective that we come from, deal with a lot of issues of racism and lack of access, lack of availability of infertility services to address the core issues.
How then can we do better? Research-wise, how then can we do better?
That's a good question, and us is going to talk about the research that they developed and how they were able to see the similarities between Ghana and the U.S.
So, as a part of this research consortium between Ghana and the U.S., our researchers co-developed with Ghanaian experts here. We have...
Okay. We've continued to work to really think about what does it look like to ask about the challenges? What does it look like when we consider what are the barriers here? For Ghanaian researchers who want to do more work on infertility, for Ghanaian advocates who are thinking about what kinds of campaigns, how do they work to deal with religious leaders, chiefs, and so on and so forth. So as same as we're doing in the U.S.
And for Ghanaian women to be able to have access to information, it is very, very critical. A lot of people do not know their options. And even when they know, where do they get access?
Yeah, that's a really good point. In Ghana, most people do not want to access a lot of medical services before going through to their pastor. And so I think
they go to their pastor first.
They go to their pastor first. That's the first respondent oftentimes when individuals and families are struggling. And so it's important that we recognize that we need to also bring different leaders into the conversations, not just researchers, not just clinicians, but how do we bring religious leaders into the conversation so that they could also refer women to the right treatment at the right time, so there's no delay in care.
How are you then able to support women especially, and even the men, because it is not just the women that suffer. The men are equally bearing the brunt. How do we support these people emotionally?
So I'll say from Sister Song's perspective, Sister Song launched a $60,000 fund to support folks who are going through fertility challenges. If they wanted to use those services to access care, to access a variety of treatments, Sister Song provided the funds to do that. Also providing counseling and mental health support, because we know that the stigma and the isolation around fertility challenges is often too much. It leads to a lot of anxiety and depression, and women often feel as though this is the result of some failure of their own, which they are carrying and holding amongst themselves. Men as well, also, having struggles with talking about infertility and the perception that it is almost always the women who is dealing with the fertility challenges and not necessarily looking at men. So we really have to have counseling, like Alexa said, dealing with different leaders, dealing with our cultural and community leaders to bring folks together to really begin to support one another in a better way to address stigma.
What things can we do better in Ghana, even in terms of policy?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it highlights why the Global Black Infertility Agenda is so important, because what we're saying is that we don't know all the answers, but we want to make sure that we have the right people in the room. And those right people include advocates. Those right people include people with lived experience. It includes politicians, clinicians. So what Sister Song is doing by saying that, in the U.S. and in Ghana, black women face similar issues, and let's have a global black infertility agenda where we're coming together, identifying issues, identifying gaps, and how we solve that together. Oftentimes in Ghana, as we know, people from the West, people from America, people from England always come to Africa and say, this is your solution. But what Sister Song is doing is really unique in saying that we're inviting you to this conversation to build a solution together. And I think that's such a beautiful way to collaborate. That's a beautiful way to re-own the story and reclaim how do we forge the way forward. And so that was what the event was about yesterday. It was really about bringing U.S.
Oh, you had an event yesterday?
Yes, we had an event yesterday.
What was it about?
Perfect question. And so, I can speak about that.
Sure. So the Global Black Infertility Agenda event that we had yesterday really brought together clinicians from Ghana, folks who have also contributed and offered feedback to us as we're co-developing ideas and strategies. How do we work together? How do we find areas of collaboration? We already know that the issues that women in Ghana are facing are very similar to what issues that women in America are facing. Also, researchers are facing challenges with getting funding for infertility research. Advocates are having challenges around creating awareness campaigns. So bringing all those groups together to really share, what do we have in common? What are the commonalities? How do we strengthen and build coalitions so that we can continue this work, move forward to advance this issue and our concerns around this issue both in Ghana and in the U.S.
Beyond this particular event, what else are you targeting to bridge this gap?
Right. So the next event is going to be in the U.S. at the end of July. And so taking this conversation to the U.S. side and then doing some comparisons, some analysis. How do we build education curriculum for different leaders? How do we develop different support groups? What we love about this work is that we recognize that people are doing the work already, maybe in small ways. You have Dr. Carol who has support groups. You have Whitney who has clinician days.
I saw Whitney there and I was so excited.
Yes, and so they're all doing great work. And so the goal is to not create something new, but is to amplify what is happening to build better impact, more impact. And so what we need here now is key collaboration, enough working in silos and more collaboratively working together.
Is it easy to collaborate? I mean, I know that there's a focal agenda. This is what we're targeting. But very often people like to work inside. Has it been easy bringing people together?
Yeah, on the Ghana side, people have been so excited because people have been doing this work by themselves with their own resources. Individuals who are doing this out of passion, out of lived experience. And so they are really happy that Sister Song is here and saying, let's do this together. I think for so long, people have been looking to that and have been looking to different ways to do those collaborations. We know the government has different initiatives to support this type of programming and treatment for women and men who are dealing with fertility issues, but it's about time that all of us just come together and build a coalition to forge the way forward.
So beyond this event, the one happening in the US in July, is there any woman out there or any family out there struggling, or any young woman who wants to weigh her options? How are they able to get in touch with you, reach you?
Yeah, and so does Sister Song want to?
Sure. I think you can access Sister Song's website for more information. I think that we'll also be providing a list of our partners that are here in Ghana for resources for folks who are local here. One thing I wanted to say about your previous point is that we're also looking to expand this research to the Caribbean as well. Really tracing through the diaspora, what are our shared issues and how do we continue to build those coalitions, not just in Ghana, but with our U.S. partners and with our Jamaican partners as well.
And for partners in Ghana, they can reach Reaper Health at hello@reaperhealth.com, and we connect them to the right partners to amplify some of this work.
It's a good work that you're doing. A couple of months ago, my best friend Ajwa, she held a forum where all of us women came together to talk about our issues, and you realize that there are a lot of struggles, and we're struggling silently. So it's important that there are these fora, there are these groups, support systems that women can run to in these times. So it's a good thing that you're doing. Any final words you have for people watching you?
I mean, to your point, we also want to see more men involved in these conversations. Studies have shown that 40 to 50% of fertility issues are also attributed to men. And so just as women, we know how to build community. We know how to come together and support one another. But we also want to support organizations who are also focusing on men and recognizing that this is a conversation that we all need to have. Sister Song is doing a great work in building this agenda. So now is the time for us to put the matters on that agenda so that we know what to focus on and what to amplify.
All right. Thank you very much for coming. We do appreciate what you're doing, and we hope that there's more support for you. So that's Alexis Amankwano. She's co-founder of Reaper Health, and Inas Khalida Mahdi. She's a research consultant with Sister Song. We're back shortly after this video. Stay tuned in. You're welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today, and we're still talking about health. And I had something a few seconds ago, and if you are growing, please lend me your ears for the next couple of minutes. This morning, we're shedding the spotlight on Parkinson's disease. And my guest is Dr. Vida Obese. She is a neurologist, senior physician specialist at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Last year, we attempted to have a conversation on Parkinson's disease. This year, she's in studio so that we can have that conversation. Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Good morning.
It's
I'm
good to
fine.
see you in person.
Yes, it's really good.
Parkinson's disease. A lot of time when people hear, they think that this is Bruni area. It's very foreign.
Yeah.
Is this something that has become common here in Ghana? And how prevalent is it? And what is Parkinson's disease?
All right. Thank you. So Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disease. So it happens when the brain cells are damaged for some reason. And what happens in Parkinson's disease is that those brain cells that control your movement require what we call dopamine. And the cells that will produce the dopamine for some reason die off, and you are not able to get the dopamine that will enable you to move.
How will the cell die?
So that's what we are still researching on for years.
Okay.
So for some part of it, we think genetics explains it, but there's a larger component of our environment, and it's still ongoing as to what is in our environment that interacts with us that causes Parkinson's disease. So when these cells die off, you don't get the dopamine, and your brain cells find it difficult to control your movement. So patients tend to have movement-related symptoms such as they struggle to get out of bed, turn in bed, walk. They are very slow, and they tend to have tremors in the hands, in the head, the shaking hands. If you see a patient who is shaking in the hands and is slow, and the muscles become stiff. And so those are the movement challenges. But the difficulty with Parkinson's disease is that they don't have only movement challenges. They have symptoms that are not related to movement, such as anxiety, depression, constipation, frightening nightmares. Yes.
Constipation?
Yes. And research has shown that these non-motor related symptoms happen way before we see the motor symptoms. And these non-motor symptoms are quite non-specific. Okay. So if you were constipating, it's unlikely you would think Parkinson's. And if you had sleep, when you have a partner who is turning in bed, acting out the dream and hitting you, you wouldn't think Parkinson's. But those come way before we have the motor challenges and changes in the handwriting. The handwriting starts become smaller and smaller before we see the florid shaking of the hands and being slow.
So let me understand, because you mentioned shaking of the hands. If a young person has florid shaking of the hands, does it mean that person is prone to Parkinson's? Because we know Parkinson's Day is for the aged.
So the age, usually Parkinson's disease is prevalent in the age range above 60.
Okay.
But we are increasingly now seeing patients report below 50, which we call the young onset Parkinson's disease. Genetics could explain it, but we feel that and the environment is also playing a large role in us seeing some of these cases. So now Parkinson's is seen in the young. And we have the CEO of Parkinson's Africa who started having symptoms at 29 years. Wow. She was diagnosed at 35 and she's been living with it for about 7 years. And she had symptoms at 29. So we do have patients currently who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s with Parkinson's disease. But yes, it's a disease.
But does it equally affect patients or people who are younger than 20?
If you see some symptoms similar to Parkinson's in age below 20, or it could be related to a syndrome. But typically it's a disease of the aged. It could be part of another disease, a group of diseases.
Or it could also be another neurodegenerative disorder.
Yes, so neurodegenerative disorders tend to be with the age, with aging. So what happens is that when you have the slowness, you have the tremors, you are rigid. What we generally say is that you have Parkinsonism, like Parkinson's.
Okay.
But until we clinically examine you and we exclude other things that can do the same thing. So, for example, that part of the brain that has the problem when you have Parkinson's disease is the basal ganglia. If you have a tumor in the basal ganglia, you can have the same symptoms like a Parkinson patient, but that doesn't mean you have Parkinson's disease. We manage differently. If you have a stroke in that same space, you may present with the same symptoms, but that will not be Parkinson's disease. So strictly Parkinson's disease is when nothing of that sort is happening in the basal ganglia. There are no toxins damaging that part of your brain, but for some reason those cells are dying off, and then you start having those motor and non-motor symptoms.
A doctor is always on call. I hear you.
No, don't worry.
No, but you can put it on silent.
Yeah.
You can quickly put it on silent. I know a doctor is always on call. People need them all the time. I mean, especially as we are in the month for Parkinson's. Everybody's calling for one thing or the other. So we're talking about Parkinson's disease this morning, and you're learning a thing or two. But other support groups for persons living with Parkinson's, is it readily available?
Yeah, so in Ghana we have 3 major support groups. There's one in Kumasi, and there's a support group in Accra, and in other Richard Novati Catholic Hospital at Sugakope, there are support groups. So what these support groups provide for the patient is a community of people with similar problems, like having the same disease, where you get to meet together and share your challenges and find solutions. And what the support groups also help patients to do is that they get educated. And for our support group in Kumasi, when you come, you don't come alone. You come with a relative or a caregiver, so that the education we are given is not given only to the patient, but also to the caregivers, because these patients have been managing their homes. Now they are shaking, they are slow. Some are not able to economically provide for their homes, and these caregivers have to now step in and do that. And most of these caregivers do not understand the challenges patients go through. So these support systems...
What are the challenges these patients go through?
All right, so as I explained, the motor challenges, so they are very slow. Even for some patients who are advanced, they cannot button their shirts, they are shaking. Even drinking a cup of water, they may shake and pour the water. They have challenges bathing, and anything that they have to do, they will be slow at it. And if you are somebody who is signing checks, you work at a bank, or you use your hands in your profession, it may be challenging to do that work. And so those challenges are quite clear in terms of the movement or motor related symptoms. But the ones we do not see are the ones that are actually debilitating, like the anxiety, families not wanting these tremors to be associated to their family, because people assume that when you are shaking hands, either you are drunk or you have a contagious disease. And so these patients are stigmatized. So even the educated patients are also stigmatized. It cuts across. People don't understand why you are shaking, and so they
is it because there's not a lot of education on Parkinson's?
Yes, there's lack of awareness, and that is very important. It's very key that we do more as we are on this platform, go into communities and teach people that when somebody is shaking, it could be Parkinson's, and you have to access care as soon as practicable. It is not contagious, and we have to reduce that stigma, because it's a chronic disease, and we have a lot of chronic diseases in Ghana. Hypertension, that they are all diseases that are chronic. But you know, with Parkinson's disease, because they are slow and people do not understand them, they often face a higher amount of stigma.
If I am a caregiver, what are the do's and don'ts?
Okay. So as a caregiver, you need to, there's no clear do's and don'ts, but you need to understand the disease and also understand what the patient is going through. Typically in our Ghanaian palace, we always think that when people are sick or the tragedy hits, everybody around them will support. It's like a journey they go on. There are some people who will not be willing to go on that journey with you. So it's key that as a caregiver, you elect and decide that I want to be on this journey with the person. And the patient understands that this person is taking me on this journey. And so when you understand that, you are eager to help the patient. So the Parkinson's affects patients differently. There are some patients who have a lot of tremors, and there are some patients who struggle with the muscle stiffness, the rigidity. And one thing about Parkinson's disease is that it gets worse over time. It's progressive. So once the caregiver understands that, the caregiver is able to help the patient. And as a caregiver too, you should know your limits because it's very stressful taking care of a chronic patient. So we also at the support group level offer those social, the support, mental health support for even the caregivers, so that at a point when you are at your breaking point, you know that there's help and you can talk to somebody. But they need to understand the clear challenges that the patients have and their role in helping the patient.
Does that mean that if somebody turns 60, or if somebody knows somebody who's turned 60 and is going up, that person is likely prone to Parkinson's?
So now Parkinson's disease is not strictly in that age group.
Even though you have mentioned that young people are...
So now what we are saying is if you have some, usually Parkinson's starts on one side of the body. So we usually mistaken it to be like a stroke. And then when people are aging and they are slow, we say it's part of normal aging. So what we are saying is if you have a relative...
So it has some... It is symptomatic to stroke?
There are similarities, like stroke is one-sided and Parkinson's typically starts one-sided and then moves to the other hand. So if your hand is shaking, it's usually at rest, when your hand is at rest. That's how it starts, and it's a resting tremor, so it shakes at rest.
Okay, so while your hand is lying, then it starts
it's shaking. So if you have someone who is shaking, and then you have someone who is slow, who cannot turn in bed, whose handwriting is becoming smaller and smaller. Before COVID, loss of smell was one of the non-motor related symptoms that could lead you to follow up the person to see if they will develop Parkinson's. But now COVID came and then loss of smell. But it used to be that. So basically we are saying that those are the things you should look out for in patients, and then find help. Talk to your doctor. If you feel you have any form of shaking in the head, in the hands, talk to your doctor and you'll be evaluated.
You have an event coming up, a brush strokes carnival. Tell us about it.
All right. So every year, we started a Nidaso Parkinson Disease Foundation to be a foundation that led advocacy efforts for patients in Ghana to increase public education, patient education, reduce stigma, and then also drive stakeholders in a way to influence national policy on Parkinson's disease. So every year, April is the month for Parkinson awareness. So this whole April, we've been educating the public through radio, through TV, and through social media. But every year, we designate one project to highlight the month. And so this year, we have the Brush Strokes for Parkinson's initiative. It has two events under it. We started in January, where we had children from 6 to 18 years in the Ashanti and Greater Accra regions partake in a school art competition. So our campaign is art-based. We realized that we have to start them young. We need to build a community of advocates in children, in students, teachers, and parents. So we engage them in an art competition where we give them the theme, hope and resilience in the face of Parkinson's. And we had over 60 students participate. They've created amazing artworks based on the theme, and they'll be exhibiting it tomorrow at GHOne Gallery. So tomorrow's event is the highlight, where we have a carnival of some sort. We took updates from our patients and realized that most of our projects are based, we talk in the camera and then we show them these are the patients. But this time we want a community of support to come around these patients. So tomorrow we'll have patients, we'll have the public, we have caregivers come to the gallery at GHOne. We'll have a painting station where patients will try their hands on art, creating art. We hope that they will, through their emotions, show what they are going through the art. It is a way for the public to also learn about the disease and use art to create awareness. We'll have an art exhibition. Apart from the students' exhibition, we have four amazing creatives who are also lending their artwork as part of the art exhibition and are also auctioning of their artworks to raise funds for Parkinson's disease awareness. And we'll have an information booth where patients can walk in and ask a physiotherapist, a pharmacist, a nutritionist about their health concerns. We'll be there from 12 to 5 p.m. And then finally, we'll have a station where we'll sell Parkinson's disease merchandise to raise funds for Parkinson's research.
Okay, thank you very much.
So you are invited.
I definitely will be there. Tomorrow, what time does it start?
12 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay. At Ajengano?
Yes, Gallery Soak. And it's on our social media handles. Inidaso Parkinson's Disease Foundation.
Inidaso Parkinson's Disease Foundation. So anybody who wants more information on Parkinson's can just go on there and read more on Parkinson's. Thank you very much for coming. That's Dr. Vida Obese. She's a neurologist, a senior physician specialist at the Komfo Teaching Hospital. I am back after this breather with more. Stay tuned in. You're welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today. If you are a technology enthusiast or if you're tech savvy, a lot of us are now, well, lend me your ears for the next couple of minutes. I've been joined in studio by a tech expert, I can call her. Jemima Fromper is the CEO and co-founder of TechHub. Good morning, Jemima. How are you?
Good morning, Lily. I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking. TechHub. What is it about? Are you a woman who's enthusiastic about technology and decided to set up a hub?
So, my background is in the healthcare space.
Oh, really?
My co-founder and partner is into technology.
Okay.
So, we kind of came together. There's so many things going on with, technology, healthcare. So, we came together and we thought, okay, we're coming back to Ghana to give back to our motherland.
Okay.
So, we set up TechHub Africa, and by the way, we're 1 year today.
Oh, congratulations to you.
Thank you. So TechHub is a technology services provider. Our focus is to support startups. So through innovation, through invention, anything, we bring you in contact with investors, with mentors, industry experts, for people with great ideas to really take off and make something big out of it.
What sectors are you in?
STEAM. So science, technology, engineering, Greek, and medicine.
And in the last 1 year, how has it been? I mean, the journey for you and impact-wise?
The journey has been amazing. But obviously adapting to the Ghanaian model hasn't been easy.
I know.
It's a work ethic, it's all of that, but we've made a lot of progress. So our staff span out across Africa. We've got staff in Sierra Leone, in Uganda, and in Nigeria. So because it's technology and really the focus is on all of Africa, especially on Ghana, we want to bring employment to the youth. So wherever you are, if you fit into our narrative or into our model, we'll give you that opportunity to make the most of it.
You have a few things out there. I've seen GH Accommodation. What is it about?
GH Accommodation is a platform for students. So when I was in university, I remember when I got my admission at University of Cape Coast, I had to take a car from Koforidua all the way to Cape Coast, look for accommodation and all of that. So we've taken all that hassle out. Now you can lie in the comfort of your bed and browse through all the accommodation on our website, depending on what school you're going to. And you can speak directly to the hostel managers, choose the room that you want, make payment online, and your allocation will be ready when you get to your university. So we bring in the facilitator and the student together so that there is no need for a middleman who usually will take your money and just run with it.
And then there's the diaspora care. What is that?
So today we have a press release out. Diaspora Care has partnered with TechHub Africa to bring accessible healthcare at affordable prices to Ghanaians. So Diaspora Care originated in America. We have operations in the UK. In Africa, we do have Cameroon and Kenya, obviously Nigeria as well. So this is healthcare paid for by family members in the West for people in the diaspora. So if my mom is in Ghana and maybe I live in the UK, but I'm responsible for her healthcare, I pay through Diaspora Care, and my mom can access any pharmacy or hospital from Ghana. All they tell me is, your mom is here, do you authorize it? Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a good initiative.
Very good.
So you don't have to, so if you live in the diaspora, you don't have to look for a family member or a friend to come take care of your mother and take her to the hospital and all the rounds. If you don't find somebody, very often it's a hassle.
It is a hassle indeed, and it's the mismanagement of funds that we're trying to curb or eliminate. So we have care coordination for long-term sicknesses as well. So if your mom has long-term illness, maybe dementia or just old age, we have care coordination packages that somebody in the West can pay for and your mom would be taken care of.
You also have Ghana Mall. What is Ghana Mall?
So it's all technology. We're just bringing technology together here. Ghana Mall Online is a marketplace where people everywhere in the world can pay for goods or services and collect them from the shop or get them delivered to them.
All over the world?
All over the world.
So you can buy anything from all over the world?
You can buy anything from anywhere, so long as the shop is on Ghana Mall online.
Okay.
So we're still talking to businesses.
So how many shops have you got listed on the Ghana?
We have majority of the shops in Ghana on there.
Okay.
So the website is www.ghanamallonline.com.
Okay.
So you can access the things that we have there at the moment, or if there's a business that's not there yet, I'll encourage you to get on board right now, because at the moment we've got discounts for onboarding.
So if I buy something from Ghana Mall online, is there a way to track it?
Yes. So if you choose delivery, you can track your delivery based on which delivery company is delivering your item. If it's Bolt or Yango, you can track it. We're encouraging businesses as well to come on board and, either use the delivery partners that we have or bring their own on board.
You also have Ofiagro. What is Ofiagro?
Ofiagro is my little baby. So Ofiagro is into the production of agro products. So we make palm fruit.
So Ofie Agro.
Ofie. We come from Ofie.
Okay.
We are from Ekrapim.
Okay.
And we just love our motherland. So we've kind of partnered with the market or industry leaders out there, the women who make gari, who make palm oil. We're trying to bring all the processes together and introducing a bit of technology to make the processes a lot easier for them. So at the moment we have a brand in Ghana and we export as well gari, palm oil, so Ofie gari. We've got all sorts of gari as well. Did you know that?
No.
Okay, so there's turmeric gari, there's beetroot gari.
Okay, is that the red one?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen
the
it.
red one is the beetroot one.
Okay.
So for the health enthusiasts, you can opt for turmeric or beetroot or soy. We have
soy?
Yeah.
Wow.
We infuse the soy or beetroot or turmeric or coconut with the gari to give it different flavors.
Ah, interesting.
And we have garden eggs, Ofie garden eggs. We have Ofie turkey berries, which is the abidru. And we have Ofie dry fruit.
Some people say Kwewunsusa.
Kwewunsusa, yeah, Kwewunsusa, yeah. So we've got all these, and this Saturday we're back at the market, Ofie market at Amanokrom. So everyone head there, get your groceries, get your farm produce. Yeah,
I'll be there this Saturday.
Awesome. We'll be expecting you.
All right. But for 1 year of your existence, what are you? I heard you mention that you're giving us some discounts.
Yes. So for Ghana Mall Online, you can get a discount if you sign up with us this month through to June.
Okay.
We close off the curtain in June. And then we go to normal pricing. For diaspora care as well, we're still on board in pharmacies and healthcare facilities that can partner with us for mutual benefits. And also for Ghana, our focus is to provide employment for the youth. So we're urging all the youth, especially with our hackathon, to try and explore your ideas on renewable energy, on traffic management, and on waste management. If you go to our website www.techhubafrica.org, you find all the information there.
Congratulations to you on your 1 year.
Thank you, Lily.
So that's Jemima Pempe. She's CEO and co-founder of TechHub. They have a wide variety of things that will interest you. Please go onto their website and then find something that will interest you. That's it. Let me do some celebrations now. Today I honor you not out of routine, but because